to the LEC group stage for Mad Lions versus Vitality. Vitality 1-0 up in the series. Vedi, are you ready for a joke?
A joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did Adele cross the road?
Why did Adele cross the road?
To say hello from the other side.
I hate you. I'm very upset right now.
That was a good one, though.
How's your knee?
It's really bad.
Do you want to take a seat?
No, not right now.
No, it's fine. No, look,
I'll
take a seat.
Okay.
It's fine. Look,
yeah. So for anyone doesn't know, I had knee surgery when I was 24 because I tore my meniscus, and I've done it again.
So we have chairs now.
We have chairs now to chill on. Yeah. Yeah, they're just normal chairs. Normal chairs.
Why is my chair doing? Why is my chair doing this? Okay, well, welcome to Game 2.
Representative of your league skill level, I think, is the general rule with the chairs.
We're getting ready for Mad versus Vitality Game 2 in our best of 3. Vitality dominated Game 1, and a lot of it largely came down to the draft. We sat down now. We're about getting ready for draft of Game 2. And we're excited to see how things change. I can very much see that Mad Lions have moved over to the blue side, which means that they will have first pick. But frankly, you have to bring into question what the game plan was from the Mad Lions in Game 1. Largely because when we think about it, it felt like that the Malphite was very telegraphed. It felt like that the Zeri was going to be the answer to the Lucian. And it felt like that Vitality didn't throw any curveballs. Outside of maybe the Yone, there was nothing in there that was really surprising. We've seen all of these champions played by Vitality before. This is also incredibly meta. Like, I'm kind of surprised that Mad Lions took this approach. And
Goldberg was saying the same thing on the desk, right? It felt like they didn't really understand what they wanted to do on red side. And obviously, maybe blue side is the change they need, Vedi. We'll see.
But again, like, I understand the idea from the Mad Lions, but I think it was one of those situations where they needed to execute near perfection in the early game, and they just weren't able to do it. And we'll have to see how things change up. As mentioned, we are getting ready for the draft of Game 2. I can see that the vast majority of the players are already on stage, so once we're ready, we will let you know. But yeah, I have to bring into question, like, what will be the priorities? Something like the Xayah. Is this something, maybe even the Zeri will shift over in priority? We know the Carzzy can play it. He had a great performance in terms of the tiebreaker, where he was able to stand out and help Mad qualify for the top 8. But yeah, other thing that we haven't really talked much about, well, earlier, if you did check out Ready Check, we did talk about championship points. Yeah. For a quick TLDR, Mad Lions have a lot of points. Vitality, not actually that many. No. Vitality ended up losing to both Koi and SK in the winter split, whereas Mad Lions finished second, which means that Mad Lions sitting on about 100 points right now. Even if they finish 8th, Vitality have to place incredibly high. They need to get like top 3, top 4 to even stand a chance of being able to qualify, assuming G2, of course, win the split.
That is the assumption that we're making when we talk about championship points. Otherwise, whoever wins the split will be our first seed to MSI, and whoever comes G2 will be our second seed if they do not win. I'm sure there are lots of people out there thinking, please, Mad Lions, we want either you to start really performing a lot better than you are right now, or we want to see you get knocked out early so that one of the teams on form at the moment can take that second berth at MSI.
Yeah, I mean, it's very surprising, you know, to see a team that finished second in the regular, well, finished second overall last split, to find them in the position that they are right now, fighting for their lives already. And especially when we look at the performance of teams like Astralis, Fnatic on the upswing as well, they will be the best of 3 that follows, of course, Vitality versus Mad. So we'll see what level that they're going to be bringing in our next best of 3. But yeah, right now, based on Game 1, obviously, it's a very small sample size, but Vitality looking like a strong contender already in the group stages. And I just hope that they can keep this level of play up. I hope we can see them perform to the same degree, because I think consistency has been one of their biggest issues, and it's something that teams have been able to exploit, at least during the regular season.
We'll see what they can do over the course of the next couple of weeks. Of course, still 3 weeks left of the LEC Spring Split, and then 9 days before we head off to good old Blighty for the King's Coronation and for MSI.
Excited for some bangers and mash, mate. Perhaps some fish and chips.
I love fish and chips. Is my favorite food.
Cuisine.
Yeah, it's so British. Yeah. That chicken tikka masala as well. I love a good Chinese takeaway. I love my British cuisine.
Oh, I love a chicken korma.
It was one of the T1 players said, I can't wait to go to England to try the food. It's just like, does he know?
Does he know?
I
don't think
I can't remember who it was. Faker's answer to that is, why are you excited to go to the UK to win MSI?
Yep.
Which I think is the Giga Chan mindset that we expect from the greatest of all time in League of Legends. Just past his 10-year anniversary playing the game, and we are into draft for Game 2. Zeri taken away! Shock horror! They realized that perhaps upset on Zeri is something you don't want to have to deal with.
I'm kind of surprised that they chose not to prioritize it themselves. We'll see how things evolve. But the Annie and the Rakan also going to be taken away on red side. So it does seem that Annie red side ban is definitely the go-to right now. Vitality were the team that banned Rakan game 1. They're going to keep up that Rakan ban game 2, showcasing that respect to Hylissang. The Maokai going to be taken away from Bo. They believe that team fighting tool is far too strong. So how will Vitality round things out? The VAR. So Vitality largely just sticking to their game 1 bans with the addition of the Annie in there as well. Sejuani, Vi, all up and available, and it looks like Mad Lions will prioritize that Vi. Vitality, of course, have a lot of freedom here. They can look to prioritize their bot lane. Perhaps they don't consider the Xayah that strong. Of course, Caitlyn did get a small nerf, but something that is still very strong in the hands of Upset specifically. But the hover, there it is, the Xayah. Excited to see it back in Upset's hands. Of course, the man is very competent on a number of different champions. Cheeky Karthus hover, remember that was the champion that ended up, well, I'm not going to say knocked Vitality out last split, but it was the last game that they played before Vitality were kicked out of the group stages. Bit of a conversation going back and forth between Upset and Bo right now, debating what jungle they want to prioritize. Wukong would be the most expected when we look at global pick trends. And the Lucian once again for Carzzy.
Lucian, Nami, a possibility for Mad. Nisqy can, of course, go to his Gragas here. It was banned out against him last game. There's the Nami. Let's see what Vitality want to round out their bot side with. Expectations are that this will be support. If you're Kaiser, you could look towards something like the Lulu once again. You could go Thresh as well. Depends really how you want to play the game as it develops. You're not really going to be able to beat Lucian Nami in lane too easily.
I was going to say Nautilus feels like the best pick here. And it looks like the Vitality agree. So, nothing too crazy once again. It seems that the patches didn't really change much, Medic.
Yeah.
At least not for these two teams.
It took a few things out of like the meta. You know, Aurelion Sol I don't think we'll see. Azir I don't think we'll see. But as you say, these two teams are pretty comfortable. Bot lane continues to be...
Gragas, you already talked about it. The flexibility that the champion provides is something that Vitality don't want to deal with. The Malphite ban. Typically used as an answer into things like the Jace, but with that removed, brings into question what else they could be thinking about. Kennen. So, Vitality is clearly blind picking their top laner. And whatever it is, they're saying, well, we don't want to have to play... we don't have to play into what looks to be like a lot of AP, so maybe the Scion Blind is something that they could be considering.
Yeah. Could, of course, go for something safe like the Gnar as well.
Jax is still open as well.
It's true.
I think Jax is something that they could definitely take into consideration here. Renekton, of course, I think it's fine. Don't love it, but it's fine. Camille was something that we saw a lot from Photon, but I don't think he would blind that. There are a number of things that can answer into it. The Ahri, I was about to say, with the Lissandra ban, that suggests to me that Mad Lions are actually looking for an Ahri pick, but I think Ahri Wukong is something that Vitality could actually just blind, and they're going to do just that. So perhaps their plan initially was that they wanted to blind the top lane, but after seeing the Lissandra, they've said, well, actually, with Lissandra gone, maybe we actually just blind the Ahri pick now. It's pretty safe. Offers the ability to roam, and also just synergizes pretty well with things like the Nautilus and the Wukong. So that's exactly what they'll do.
Sylas currently the hover for Mad.
I love that a lot more.
Veigar instead.
A typical answer into the Ahri. The cage can be very effective against her because of the small delay between the dashes. If you can, the cage just gives you a lot of control and space, kind of forces the Ahri in terms of maybe you catch her in the cage or maybe you force her to go in a direction that she does not want to go in. So I think it's good. Relatively safe lane, scales very well, and also against a lot of dive, it can be very effective. And the Olaf locked in for Photon. We've seen this in Europe a lot, the Olaf as an answer into the Cassante, and it's something that often goes in favor of the Olaf. Yet to see Photon on the champion this split, but not surprised to see him bring it out. Adam being a big inspiration here in Europe for the pick.
And of course hasn't been touched over the last couple of patches, so continues to be that rampaging Viking that we've seen at the end of the during the entirety of the spring regular season. Let's talk a little bit about how these drafts want to work here. Very Mad Lions with some zone control, some ability to dive in and poke and prod with the Vi engage. The Vitality, on the other hand, I mean, they seem to have a similar composition. You know, you've got good CC, you've got good lockdown. Team fighting, you can front to back as well with the Olaf just running at the enemy backline.
Yeah, I would say that Mad have a lot of single target damage. They're pretty good at finding a single target, bursting them out, and then kind of relying on Carzzy to then create, well, play around the space that Elyoya and Chasy can provide for him. But the front line of Mad, I think it's easy to circumvent when you're looking at things like a Wukong, an Ahri, and an Olaf, who can basically just ignore what should be the front line, which is that this back line could be in a lot of danger. Olaf also incredible value against the Veigar. Like, there is nothing you can do to stop that man
when
from
he gets
running
low,
at you.
hit him with the primordial burst. That's about it.
Yeah, I guess too. But yeah, it's. I think when it comes to the fights, once again, I think Vitality are in a pretty good position. We'll see how things pan out. We're jumping into game 2 between Vitality and Matt.
So in a whole 2-game sample size, we've worked out 13.6. It's very similar to 13.4.
Yep.
Not too much has changed as of yet. We are back to our old overlay, which means I can crack open the runes early on. Unsealed Spellbook for both the mid laners. We have seen, I think, FLICKR on Kassadin switch to Smite, steal a Baron. So there's always a possibility as the game goes on.
You know, I think you could use the sentence, I've seen FLICKR do, and
true.
it can be anything in League of Legends, you know? I feel like...
I've seen him die to a brand mid lane.
I knew you were gonna say that. Oh, man. I wonder if we'll ever find out who that mystery brand player was.
It was me, Smile.
Well, you mean like everyone else in chat?
Yeah. I had to be gold, though, so it's a bit too high elo for you, right?
No, that's actually perfect for me.
Oh, nice.
I'm very happy.
Cool.
Yeah, no. Anyway, let's have a look. Ward invested early on. Right here. And we've also got a ward here. And we've got a ward here. Oh, aren't I good at spotting the wards? Basically, this is its sole purpose is to give information as to what the junglers are up to in the early game. Nothing too crazy. Things that we've seen multiple times before. But ultimately, what does it mean and what information does it give for both sides? As Bo starts on the top side of his map and he looks for a full clear largely towards the bot side, wanting to try and play around upset and Kaiser, maybe even threaten a dive. Xayah has incredible damage in the early game, and the CC setup from Kaiser is effective enough that it could be something that they look for. Meanwhile, Elyoya wants to path up towards the top side of the map. Perhaps he just does not want to get into a skirmish with Bo. Maybe wants to contest it, or doesn't rather want to contest this bot side scuttle. And also you can see that early ward invested to make sure that Elyoya isn't up to anything sneaky in the early game. Nisqy, unsurprisingly, getting pushed in the early. You can see Photon doing the same top, and Vitality doing the exact same bot. So they have 3 pushing waves, which gives a lot of agency and freedom towards Bo. Once again, the blue will be spotted out by Photon. Ward will be dropped in the river. And Vitality using their control very well. Elyoya, though, circumventing the vision.
Doing what Bo did last time, just trying to work his way all the way around. Expect it up towards the top side. Guardian proc down towards this bottom lane as Kaiser and Upset look to trade in. But Elyoya has taken the long route round here, Vedi, towards that top lane. Photon has Ghost and Flash. Knocked back with the Intofu strikes, stepping forward, undertow, gets the shield, but Chasy continues to trade in. There's the Ghost away as Photon spots Elyoya on the minion wave and can just run his way down towards this bottom side. Make sure he's out of range of the gank, then paths back towards his lane. Perkz now moving from the mid lane. The push you mentioned earlier, the dive possible. Carzzy with cleanse, Hylissang with heal. Kaiser will tank the tower, ignite out, cleanse immediately away from the ignite. Kaiser tanks another shot. The charm coming in, Carzzy low, first blood over to Vitality. Upset though, caught up with the event horizon as Nisqy TP'd in. And in the end, Vitality will be able to walk away.
Just a really clean play from Vitality overall. What more is there to say? They stacked the waves, they leveraged the fact that Perkz had the priority in mid. They get the TP out from Nisqy, but they still get the kill onto Carzzy, get all of his summoner spells. Now Mad trying to make a cross map happen top.
Photon does still have the flash, can use it on the Bulk Breaker. TP comes in, Chasy low. Elyoya has to get the hell out of there as the Undertow continues to find him out.
He's going in.
Photon flashing forward, the knockback with the Pathfinder, but now Elyoya, the worst for wear, flashes away after losing his top lane.
The second that Mad hesitated after seeing the TP was the go signal for Photon to secure himself a kill. Flashes in to secure it onto Chasy. The man demonstrating dominance in the top lane. And we're going to see the dive once more. You'll notice that Kaiser's able to tank up, I think, 3 tower shots here. Waits for everyone to be ready, lands the root, forces the flash cleanse out. Then he's going to take that first tower shot. Meanwhile, look at all the freedom that Upset Bo. The root comes through from Upset as he flashes in to make sure that the feathers land. Perkz is able to secure the kill with the Q. And then Kaiser's able to walk away. And the aggro never swaps to another member of Vitality. Just a beautifully orchestrated dive. And on the contrast, not quite so beautiful for the Mad Lions. Immediately forced to retreat as the TP comes in from Perkz. Photon, knowing that he has the shield and the damage from the Q spam, is able to secure himself a kill, and already Vitality looking dominant in game 2.
Yeah, already 800 gold ahead, Vedi. They're in such a strong position. You can see Mad Lions looking to try and isolate Photon. Last time they played this out, they lost out the 2v1.
Just gonna kill him again.
Undertow does connect onto Chasy. Elyoya coming in as well. Photon just needs another Undertow into the auto. Underneath the tower, he'll get it. Trades his life for it. The Undertow coming out, but no. For a moment it looked close, but in the end, Elyoya able to take that kill. We'll get reduced XP from these minions, of course, with it being pre-14 minutes, but a little bit of extra gold in the back pocket of Elyoya there. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Kaiser chunked out a little bit, but he should be able to walk away from that one. And Vitality, once again, across the map, winning out.
Damn. You know, if Photon's axe was a little closer, he would have gotten that kill. Ooh, wall physics getting in the way there. Kaiser lands the hook, but doesn't secure the kill. Oh, look, Perkz on the roam again. He gets spotted on the ward, doesn't care. Has the level 6, has the ultimate available, and they're going for the dive.
Carzzy has no flash. The charm, though, trying to predict it, and immediately Mad able to walk away from that one. Bo already used the clone to get into this one. Vitality dashing back forward. Perkz looking for a bit more damage. Elyoya here. Nisqy on his way down. No vision for him in the tri-bush, but he can perhaps knock them down a little bit as Kaiser goes forward. We'll have a reduced cooldown on that Q. Nisqy now all his way around, and now Vitality will spot him. The event horizon goes down. Flashing forward. Bo ignited, ticking. Falls in the end. Nisqy goes down as well. Kaiser dashing in, and Carzzy takes him out 2 for 1. The root comes out from Upset to stop the advance of the Mad Lions, but Mad able to get something back on the board.
Really, that was best case scenario for Mad. Carzzy can still catch the wave, and he gets himself a kill, so he's back in the game after all of this investment to the bot side of the map. Perkz isn't quite done.
He knows he's a mid laner, right? He's not playing with caps anymore. He doesn't have to play bot. It's continuously just trying to apply pressure here.
So much time is being spent from Perkz. They need to find something here. He's just going to lose a lot. Recognizes he needs to get back to the wave. Elyoya should be able to spot him out. But all right, the wave, not too bad. So it's actually not the end of the world for Perkz. Has secured himself 2 kills. Feeling pretty strong right now. Kaiser has his eyes on Nisqy.
Nisqy no flash. Event horizon goes down. Hex flash forward into the dredge.
No, he got
the stun onto Perkz. The charm's still in range, but they don't have the damage to follow up. Even with the Orb of Deception, it's not enough. Nisqy still half HP in the mid lane.
Perkz actually walked into that stun. I think he was trying to get around the minion so he could land the charm after the hook connected. But either way, even if he landed the charm, as you rightly said, without the ultimate, they don't really have enough damage. So really, it's just chipping away. But let's look back at this dive. So a lot of predictions were made Vitality that didn't quite connect. Keep your eyes on Bo here, because Nisqy's commitment, good damage, but then after getting the heal, Bo realizes, I'm dead, let me just draw tower aggro and do as much damage as possible. It actually goes over to Kaiser. Bo lives way longer than he thinks he's going to, but thanks to the damage and turnaround commitment, they're able to get a kill back. Now Nisqy's in danger, or is Bo in danger?
Bo gets locked up, the cease and desist enough to end his life. Bo now 0-2. And Mad Lions equalize the score at 4-4. They were 800 gold behind a couple of minutes ago. Vedi now honors even between these two teams.
Yeah, well played there by Mad. A good punish from Elyoya. And all of a sudden, Mad are back into the game. Perkz looking for a run. Will be spotted out on vision once again. Mainly wants to offer a bit of protection as Photon is looking for that plate. He should be able to secure it. But wow, what a back and forth game. Early on, Vitality had advantages all across the board. And just like that, Elyoya now finds himself with a small gold lead. Carzzy in the same position. I don't think Hylissang's going to try anything too crazy here. Do want to draw attention to our viewers at home that if you want to keep track of the stacks, you can see them on our overlay. We have them for Veigar throughout the duration of the game, along with his XP. Have been made aware that not many people are aware that they see the XP bar, but it is there on the icon as well, that small pink bar. Infernal is up, but with Bo on the top side of the map. Not something that Vitality is going to look to contest, but once Mad Lions see it drop, they may very well go for that objective themselves. Nisqy will get charmed. Good trade there from Perkz. But no first strike, no electrocute means that Nisqy not going to be too phased by that damage.
Already has the Catalyst of Aeons as well, so has a bit of extra health and a mana to keep him alive. You've seen this Elyoya going across towards the Dragon, as you said, Vedi, seeing the Rift Heralds down means that he can go and secure this. Mad Lions, though, are not on the right side of a reset here. They do have the Serrated Dirk on Carzzy, but Kaiser has had the option to go back, get himself double Ruby Crystal, already has that Sight Stone upgraded as well, or the Warding Trinket as the root goes down onto Hylissang. Doesn't have the flash, does have a heal, but doesn't really have anywhere to use it. And Vitality, even though they lose the Dragon, will still find themselves a fish in the river.
Bit greedy there from Perkz. He committed the ultimate to try and steal the kill. Ended up going over to Bo, but now he doesn't have that. What does that mean? Elyoya can look for a play.
Perkz locked up, cease and desist coming out. Perkz pops the stopwatch. Flashes and escapes the charm under the tower as well. Nisqy will tank an extra tower shot.
Damn! That was clean, Perkz. That was very clean. The stopwatch reaction into the flash sidestep Q from Nisqy. Yes, he's going to lose a plate, but the advantage is gained bot lane. 2k gold is now the lead for Vitality after getting that Herald and dropping it bot. Once we get an opportunity, we'll have a look at the gold difference. Actually only 400 in favor of Upset after securing all of those plates, but regardless, Vitality sitting in a very comfortable spot now.
Obviously that gold shared across Bo and Kaiser as well. Bo putting down the Rift Herald means that he will have picked up some of those plates, and you can see he's about 500 gold ahead. Top lane very much in Photon's favor. We haven't really looked at it much since the early ganks that did happen, and now Photon will switch down towards the bottom side with the first turret being taken, and it will be Upset's duty to catch the way up towards top. Yeah.
One thing you could consider doing is actually putting the Olaf mid into the Veigar and actually setting the Ahri bot.
Just sprinting it in.
Yeah. Chasy, I believe he is unseen, but Upset not the type to fall prey to silly things like tower plates. He's going to play cautiously for now, and Mad will not be able to convert this into anything. But what we're going to see a lot of now with the bot tower gone is Photon unlocked on the map. You see him in the bot lane, pushing in that wave, moving into enemy jungle. And all of this vision that's invested into the bot side, these wards, provide him with a bit of extra safety. Ideally, they want to move vision slightly deeper so that he can feel safe if they want to start threatening the tower. But all Photon really cares about is making sure that these waves are pushed underneath the tower, and then he can start moving up into fog. And every time he moves into fog, Mad have to be cautious of where he could be on the map.
It's the same thing with Perkz, moving so often from the mid lane, pushes it in, moves across, applies a little bit of pressure. Yes, you don't have to go for the dive. You don't have to look for the kill. It's just making it a little bit more difficult. Event Horizon just short there from Nisqy. Kaiser able to dodge back away from it. Hylissang looks for the Aqua Prism, does find it. Carzzy has the ebb and flow on him as well. Will blast cone forward, but Kaiser going back in. Depth charge on Carzzy, used to be teammates, but now the Cyclone coming in to lock him up. The Aqua Prism as well, the cleanse away from Carzzy as he tries to escape, but Perkz is dashing in and lands the charm once again. Bo able to kill off Carzzy. Flash forward by Bo, dash away from Elyoya. Vitality will have to settle for only a single kill.
Now, that flash may have looked ridiculous, but he was trying to intercept the Q from Elyoya. Elyoya, though, a great amount of patience as he holds it for the time being and then able to use it to get away. As Photon steals away the red buff. Great charm from Perkz, though, in the midst of the chaos, able to find a good one onto Carzzy. Frankly, I think Carzzy, he should have, well, I mean, going for this play I think is greedy in and of itself. I don't think his intent was actually to dive over the wall here. I think he really just wanted to chip away. This is then what surprised me, that he then commits afterwards. Kaiser then looks for a hook, throws out the ultimate. Carzzy doesn't flash at this point, which I think is too late. A good ultimate from Hylissang to buy time, but Carzzy's chain CC'd. It's only here that he then chooses to flash away, but the damage is already done. Now look at the charm from Perkz. Predicts the sidestep, able to land it onto Carzzy. And then you'll see this flash trying to get in the way, but turn around from Elyoya and is able to use it to get away to safety. Well played from Vitality as they find themselves another pick, and this is the beauty of their composition. They keep moving into the darkness, keep looking for their opponents to try and find punishes, and we will unfortunately find ourselves in a pause. Once we have more information, we will let you know. I can let you know that it was Vitality's pause, but the reason why, I have no knowledge of, I'm afraid. This means that what was a pretty intense game, a lot of kills, 10 so far at 13 minutes. Vitality dominating though. 3k is the gold advantage that they find themselves with. Vitality looking to go on a dominant run. I think it's important to remind people though that Vitality did get a pretty convincing, what was it? Well, I say pretty convincing, it was a 2-1 in their last best of 3, and then they went 0-2 to Koi, and then they went 0-2 to SK in Winter. Who was the first team that they beat?
Heretics.
It was Heretics, yeah. So
a 2-1 against Heretics.
Like, and then a loss.
Obviously, in Winter they were in slightly different form, but.
But remember they finished first at the end of the regular season,
yeah.
and I think one of the biggest questions that people had around them was, how convincing is this Vitality squad? Because a lot of their wins, they arguably shouldn't have won. Like, their games were quite chaotic. Consistency really didn't exist for them, and then they were really punished and exploited in the best of 3s. Here, though, they feel like a different face. You know what I mean? Like, during the regular season, something that we heard consistently from the team, specifically Upset, was we haven't really had time to build as a team yet. You know, we're just kind of 5 individuals that are really strong, and we're communicating actively and doing what we can, but like, we're going to fall short in some areas because we just haven't had that opportunity to build the synergy that many other teams had already had to build in Winter. But now, with the week break and them really being able to focus on the things that they wanted to fix, meanwhile doubling down on the things that work for them, I feel like that we're seeing a fresh face for Vitality. Some of the over-aggression definitely still there. That bot lane tower dive definitely went on a little longer than it needed to, and you could see them doing the typical, well, I predict that you predict that I predict this, therefore I'm going to throw this here, and then they don't do anything, you know? So they end up not being able to find much off the back of that, but still, this early game has been very dominant from Vitality as a whole, and they continue to look good, whereas Mad, still question marks around their drafting. Their early game, it feels like that they're trying very hard to play around the top side of the map to very little success, and questions continue to rise where this top style of play was very beneficial to them last split. So far, this split, it hasn't really worked out.
And they haven't really been doing it either, I think, is the difference between the 2 splits. At least on examination, they don't spend that much time around Chasy. They're not like forcing into trying to get him ahead. Here, obviously, they did do that, but into an Olaf, it's pretty tricky to get your top laner ahead. And I think the question for Mad Lions is, can you rectify things for the next series? Because you've got to play either Astralis or Fnatic, whoever loses that series.
Signing them off, are you?
Like, no flame. But they don't look like they're going to win. This is halfway through The Lion King, not the start of it. You know, a few things have happened. Some people have died. There've been buffaloes. You know?
Just to update people, Vitality are experiencing some peripheral issues. The settings are currently being adjusted. And the second that it's sorted, we will continue with the game.
So yeah, this is the Hakuna Matata phase, right? This is understanding your loss and dealing with it.
Well, I mean, Mad Lions, we talked about their comp. We talked about how if we have an opportunity and you can bring up the draft, then we can talk a little bit more about it. But one of the problems that they have is Olaf. And while you look at the Veigar pick and you look at Cassante, it was a safe blind initially. And the idea behind the Veigar is it's really good at controlling things like the Ahri.
Sure.
But the second that you get into these team fights, neither of those champions do anything to stop Olaf. And then all you're relying on is Carzzy's mobility to create space between him and Photon, who's going to be looking to dive him. And that's all well and good in theory, but he's not the only one. Ahri, going to be using her mobility, creative flanks, the incredible potential of the ultimate to potentially look for a flank, and the same thing for Bo. Like, they have so much dive and threat onto these carries that it's going to be very difficult to play. And also, they only do a lot of damage to a single target. So I think that Mad Lions haven't really set themselves up for success when it comes to the fights, and so far in this early game, things are not going well. So as you can see, the issues have been resolved. We are now back into game. Vitality still control the lead, with Dragon spawning in 55 seconds.
Yeah, if we have a look at where everyone is in terms of gold in this game, I expect we'll see Vitality leading the way. Bo, Upset, and Photon all higher than anyone on the Mad Lions. Only Perkz a little bit behind. That's because he's been all over the map. He hasn't really been laning. Hasn't been getting that injection of plates, that injection of gold that the rest of his team has been drip-fed so far. Elyoya looking for something up towards this top side. Carzzy and Hylissang against Upset and Kaiser so far has been very much in favor of the Vitality lads.
And you'll notice with Perkz' build as well, it's very much about that follow-up CC, tying in with the pick composition, not about him making sure that he does as much damage as possible, but the moment that the knock-up comes through from Bo, he can follow up. The moment that Kaiser's ultimate connects, he can follow up. Feathers connect, he can follow up. Yep. Or maybe he can set up for all of these other things as well. There's a lot of flexibility where his role and responsibility is to be the facilitator on his team. Game 1, he was the Yone, he was the carry alongside Upset. This time it's about setting up the rest of his team to be those carries, and we're getting to see the different versions that Vitality can bring to the LEC.
At the moment, this version very much superior to what Mad Lions have shown us. Photon going to be able to take this dragon by himself.
Why not?
He's already got the Ravenous Hydra, 11 stacks on it. Get that up to 40 and you are pretty much unkillable, especially in the 1v1. Mythics across the board now for everyone but the supports, as per usual.
Wow, Bo, not cool, man.
And I know it's cool because he needs to give treats to his Moss Stomper. Like, if you had a pet, you'd want to give it some treats.
Still yoinked gold away from Photon, I'm just saying.
Yeah, Photon doesn't need the gold, you know. Bo needs that 1.5k ahead.
Well, right now, Vitality are saying they need that Herald. Pings are coming down. Mad, though, initially have control over the river. This Event Horizon, maybe to try and catch Perkz off. I thought he was trying to hold the wave, but the wave hadn't really been pushed in yet, so... Either way, Vitality now get the push and move over to the Herald. What will Mad Lions do? It is a pocket of vision where they see nothing. And they're going to move away. They're not going to contest.
Obviously, second Herald not as impactful as the first, but does still give Vitality the option to crack through the mid lane tower.
And that's the big one. Yep. Because when you're sieging against a Veigar, one of the challenges is that Event Horizon. You get a little too close, and he can stun you up. The Via comes through. One pick leads to potentially another pick, a good team fight, blah, 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 blah. Herald gives you the option to break that mid tower without having to deal with this Veigar's Event Horizon. Of course, it can still stun Shelly, but unless they can get that kill, it's not going to stop her from charging.
Credit to Mad, though, even though they did give up the Rift Herald, they came in, they stole away the blue buff, and they got the push down towards the bottom lane. You can see Elyoya and Nisqy actually waiting to see if Perkz steps up, but they've done this a few times. We saw Elyoya do it to the top side, we saw Chasy try and do it to catch an upset. It seems like Vitality have had drilled into them. You push the wave, and then you don't step past your tower. In these situations, just play weak side, play back, and let the rest of your team get advantages on the rest of the map.
It does look like Perkz is also going to go for the Zhonya second, so he's going to make his survivability his highest priority while mainly providing utility. His damage going to be a little lacking.
Yeah, but you have a lot of damage on the rest of the team.
But again, like, you look at Olaf and you remember, oh, true damage, right. Yeah. Also, Ahri Q, true damage, right. Yeah, okay, cool.
Also, Bo, you know, already has the Divine Sundra, building himself up towards Black Cleaver as well. Vitality will not lack in terms of DPS. Bo caught out a little bit here, but can always just clone across. You see that? Him stutter stepping. It's the basic clone. Perhaps Aquabism going out. There's a cleanse as well. Kaiser trying to go in as Carzzy jumps away. Elyoya able to escape down towards the bottom side. The Ragnarok coming out, but you can't get over the wall. Terrain still stops the Olaf. Nisqy almost roots up Upset, who doesn't have a Featherstorm and doesn't have a flash, and has to use the Gale Force to dash to safety. In the end, nothing exchanged. Bo, you're behind enemy lines here, and Chasy could catch him out a little bit. Bo does still have the flash. Vito does get the charge in. There's the Pathfinder. Bo dashes across the wall and escapes any further confrontation.
Did cost him his flash. A couple flashes burnt off the back of that exchange. Photon used both his summoners, but wasn't quite able to get that kill onto Elyoya. The Herald was dropped mid. Didn't result in a kill, though. Perkz even TP to bot lane to try and catch this wave. And Vitality mainly just trying to reclaim control of the map, clean the map up effectively after Mad Lions used their window to try and find a pick. Kaiser, though, on the hunt once more, won't be able to convert it into anything. You look at all the ultimates, every single ultimate used, largely from both sides, outside of Chasy's and Nisqy's, where they couldn't quite find anything. Vitality still in control of the game for the time being, and you expect that next neutral that Vitality is playing for is this mid tower. They've pushed bot wave all the way in the second they spot Nisqy out. I imagine that they'll look to try and play for this tower, but with the resets coming through, looks like that they're not going to go for it just yet.
Nisqy does also have the TP to get towards the mid lane if that does end up being the case for Vitality. Still 3,000 gold between these two teams, and next Drake up in a minute's time. Cloud Soul, not the most impactful soul, but when you do have something like an Olaf and you're ulting and you're trying to run at the enemy team, it can help you out. And even something like the Wukong or the Ahri.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Ahri, big fan of Cloud Soul. I think Olaf also a big fan of Cloud Soul. The extra movement speed that you get is incredibly valuable. I would argue that Chasy also gets a lot of value off the back of it. In any case, Soul still quite a ways away. That top tower continues to be chipped away at by the minions. Photon, though, wants to use this window to group up with this team in mid. It looks like the Dragon will be the main priority. Kaiser and Bo already in position. Nisqy paranoid of what may be laying in wait as the pings come through. The flank collapse from Bo. Carzzy playing safe, though.
Needs to. Has to step back from this wave. Attempting to try and get forward and clear it out before it really does get past that halfway mark. But once again, it looks like Mad Lion's willing to give up this dragon. Only second of the game for Vitality, so it's not too important that Mad have to fight it. You know, you're not getting them onto a soul point or anything, and if you can take stuff on the other side of the map, that is a trade deal worth taking, it feels, for Mad. They'll get a tower in the top lane. Chasy pushing in. You can see Photon taking the long way around to get towards that turret as well, making sure that there was no one lying in wait for him as he roamed through his red side jungle.
Yeah, I was debating for Vitality if they could have committed more to things like the top or the mid tower. Obviously, you can see Mad largely overstacking in mids. They've been kind of abandoning bot wave for the most part, only catching it when it really gets up to their tower, which does make sense because you're at risk of getting picked off. Vitality, though, going to disengage with this dragon. So, like, this is what confuses me a little bit. We saw the Photon push top wave, chose not to go for the tower because it looked like he wanted to be able to rotate over to mid.
Hilly. Perkz going forward. Everfrost just wide. Alongside the charm, Hylissang did have to burn the flash to get away. Dragon secured 2 towers, though, for Vitality.
Yeah. Earlier, I felt like the Vitality could have prioritized these neutral objectives in exchange for the dragon, but it seems that they used this window here in order to try and capitalize. Now they're going to keep pushing in this top tier 2. I quite like this. As I say that, they're going to immediately disengage. I feel like when you've got Nisqy solo pushing in bot lane, there's a big window here for you to threaten. But in the same vein, when you've only got 1 member bot, that means that multiple members can actually respond to the top side and potentially slow down the push. They're looking for Kaiser, though.
The support's being caught out so far. Cease and desist coming in as well. Carzzy dashing forward, but there's the depth charge, and Bo is on the flank. Upset there as well. Kaiser already down. Chasy trying to get onto Upset. Feather Storm possible. Upset dashes up. The Culling coming out as well, and Bo's already cut off 1. Carzzy will fall. Elyoya chased up towards the top side. Upset also down in the fight. Perkz trying to trade in. There's the charm on Hilly. Photon rooted up for a second. No Ragnarok left on him. Primordial Burst not enough to cut through the Vikings' health bar. Bo dashing back in. Elyoya smacks him around the head. The shield coming out. Bo low, and then Horizon once again as Chasy puts them in the midst of the meat grinder. But Bo and Photon low. Perkz gets the Spirit Rush back up. Nisqy takes 1. Perkz going to look for a little bit more as he goes down towards Chasy, off towards the bottom side. He'll get another. Perkz diving forward. Elyoya and Nisqy on the wrong side of the rift here as Kaiser's on his way back up. Elyoya, Vault Breaker charged up. Nisqy trying to get in between the towers here, but Kaiser should be able to flash. Hook and flash away from Nisqy. Perkz flash available, Event Horizon down. Perkz flashes over, misses the charm, misses the Everfrost, and Nisqy with the heist of the century gets out.
Wow, Nisqy able to get away with his life. Perkz missed a bunch of charms in that team fight. But let's look back. This all starts with Mad Lions catching Kaiser out of position. He's isolated, sitting on top of a ward, and Carzzy there to follow up on the engage from Elyoya. This is where things get pretty hectic, because Upset thinks that he can commit to the play onto Carzzy, but it's Upset that gets collapsed on first, uses the heal, and then is able to connect the feathers so him and Bo can actually get that initial kill. Then so many resources invested from Photon onto Elyoya, but he can't lock him down, so we can't keep the Ragnarok going. Perkz on the flank, but you can see he's not doing that much damage and isn't a real threat, especially without his ultimate. So the rest of Mad are trying to lock down Photon and Bo. Bo goes in 1 versus 4 effectively, tries to get that kill onto Elyoya. He gets the shield back, which means that he's able to walk away with his life. Then Bo and Photon end up trapped. They're stuck in the cage, and Nisqy's doing what he can to get the damage off, but Perkz' ultimate comes back up. Bo ends up then finally falling to Nisqy. Perkz then prioritizes killing Chasy so that he can get a dash back off from Perkz, get his ultimate, get the Spirit Rush back. And then this is where we see the fancy footwork from Nisqy. So the flash comes through from Kaiser. He tries to land the hook. Then Nisqy flashes away. And then look at the bonus movement speed he gets from the Cloud Rift. Sidesteps the charm. Then he sidesteps the Everfrost. And Perkz, he was trying to predict the direction that Nisqy would go in. Like, that was largely a 50-50. Perkz went one way, Nisqy went the other. The additional movement speed that he got definitely helped, but now the Baron has been started. Upset will be spotted.
8 seconds on Chasy's TP, up in 5, 4. Kaiser goes in with the depth charge. Elyoya's going to Vault Breaker away. A good Event Horizon will stun up Kaiser as well and take him down to 2/3 HP. TP in by Chasy.
Get what they want though. Vitality, they get the flash out from Elyoya and they get the TP. Now they just need to reset, go catch bot.
No.
Perkz will have to be sent to a bot lane. Doesn't have the TP up just yet. You can see Mad trying to cut off the return route from Vitality. Elyoya could be in danger here, but has the Q back up already. And now Mad Lions looking to threaten the mid lane tower.
Bo.
Flash in from Bo.
Wasn't able to get there in time. May look a little bit weird that Mad pushed so far into that red side jungle, but it's all about cutting off easy routes for Vitality to the mid lane. You can see Mad trying to take this mid turret, couldn't quite get it. But now with 5 members strong, as Perkz has to go down to that bottom lane, as you said, Vedius catch the TP, a possibility. Nisqy, Event Horizon, there's the TP in. Demolish available for Chasy, but he doesn't have enough time to stack it up, and Perkz invests his teleport to make sure that Mad couldn't get much more. Chasy dashes away, and Event Horizon again lands onto Perkz. Primordial Burst won't be enough to kill him off. The stopwatch coming out. Bo trying to trade onto Elyoya up towards the top side. Perkz with the spirit rush way down towards the bottom side. Hylissang's already dead and Chase is getting chased as well. Bo down as well. 1-for-1 trade so far as Perkz lands the Everfrost. There's 2-for-1. Vitality coming up trumps in the fight so far. Nisqy though trying to back away. The undertow hits Carzzy. The cleanse away. He's trying to dash. He's trying to dive. He's trying to duck away from any damage. But instead, Upset takes him out. Nisqy answers with 1. But Hylissang and Elyoya and Chasy fall alongside Carzzy, and it's all on Nisqy. Halfway off cooldown with the Primordial Burst, no jungler here. Hex Flash out, Upset tanking up the Baron for now.
They can't
Vitality
do it.
will realize they cannot do it for now, as you say, too risky with Nisqy in your face.
So let's look back at this fight. It all starts with them trying to catch Perkz off. A great Event Horizon. They're trying to get the burst damage down, and you can see it is a lot. Forces the stopwatch out from Perkz. He's immediately forced to dash away rather and use the heal. Meanwhile, Bo is getting isolated on the side as Hylissang is also getting collapsed by Upset. Bo does what damage he can before Carzzy, and well, it ends up being Nisqy actually secures the kill. Meanwhile, Chasy kind of isolated as the chain CC comes through from Vitality. Then the chase comes in from Photon. The axe does land, a follow-up, and then look at the damage from Upset. Nicely done. The damage from Nisqy is good as well onto Photon, so we get to kill back. And ultimately, it ends up being, what, 4-for-2 in favor of Vitality.
And after having such a disappointing game in Game 1, Nisqy now 5-1-0 on this Veigar. Rabadon's death cap finished, Seraph's complete. Hylissang going to be met with Bo here. Cyclone coming out, depth charge on to Carzzy. Flash forward, Ragnarok as well, the undertow. Carzzy already dead. Hylissang down as well. And Nisqy really can't do much in the face of Vitality. Unstoppable as they go in with the charm, the Everfrost, the root. Nisqy lands an Event Horizon, but the feathers fly. And Nisqy dies, shut down by Vitality. And they will turn towards the Baron.
Photon could not be stopped. Mad Lions did what they could, but we talked about the dive. And we talked about how there's not enough peel for Carzzy. The second that Photon decides that he wants Carzzy to fall, Carzzy does in fact fall. Great team fight from Vitality, turns into a Baron, and the consolation prize for Mad is a Cloud Drake.
We'll put them on soul point if they can get it before.
They can't even get
Vitality are here, but they can't do it. As you say, we'll be 2 apiece now. Vitality, 2.5 minutes left on their Baron buff. A 7,000 gold lead, and we'll see Photon cries for Valhalla as he dives in here.
So Bo with a great initial engage, CC's Carzzy long enough for Kaiser to get in range to land the depth charge, and that is the go signal. Bo is able to sidestep the Event Horizon and just look at the Olaf. Flashes, axes first, flashes in to then pick up the axe afterwards. Like, they didn't even have Upset and Perkz with them. Just the 3 versus 5 of Kaiser, Bo, and Photon was enough. The dive is just so powerful. And then Nisqy gets collapsed. The shutdown goes over to Perkz. He gets a Banshees, right? No damage, Ahri. But it doesn't matter. Yet to die this game. The CC has been solid, and I say no damage.
It's putting out enough.
He's putting out enough, and that's all that matters.
So, having a very good series is Perkz. Pathfinder out there will dodge the depth charge, cease and desist as well. Bo with another Cyclone of Vitality, the one's collapsing first. Chasy left to the Wolves, and Vitality will gobble him up. Another kill over to Bo, now 5-4 on the Wukong. Vitality with the Baron buff for the next 90 seconds can push in. Could try and catch 2 waves instead, just playing on 1 right now. Mid-wave not in the best of shapes for them, not in the best of positions. Nisqy pushing in the top lane, trying to get an objective bounty back, but for this, their inhibitor will be forfeit as a Vitality start to demolish the base of Mad Lions. Are they going to look for more here?
Of course they're going to look for more. They're so far ahead right now. The charm lands.
Everfrost going out as well. The Ragnarok being used. There's the dredge line as well, and Nisqy slain where he stands. Buried under his own Nexus. The Nexus tower is now the target for Vitality. They'll take it as well. And they look for more. They look for it all as Vitality sweep away the Mad Lions in dominant fashion. They will end up 2-0.
A deathless series for Perkz. A single death on Upset. And a commanding victory once again. We saw a bit of over-aggression from Vitality at times, but they played the fights beautifully, and they dominated Mad Lions. There were no questions in this series. Vitality were the stronger team, and they demonstrated that in clean, and dominant fashion. Excited to see this team progress. They will be going up against the winner of Astralis versus Fnatic, which is, of course, our next best of 3.
That it is. Be a good one to watch, I'm sure. See Upset giving Nisqy and Hylissang a hug, obviously, where they won that Fnatic team together last year. And it was a bit of a struggle for Mad Lions all around, Betty.
Of course, this doesn't mean that Mad Lions are done.
Nope.
We have the double elimination bracket, which means that they will move down and they will face the loser of Astralis versus Fnatic.
Lose 2 series from here on out and you are out of the competition.
Yeah.
Mad Lions have a 1 in that loss column.
And it's important to remind people that Mad Lions have a lot of championship points.
They do.
Even if they're able to get 6th place, assuming that G2 win the split, there's a world where they can still qualify for MSI. So if you're a Mad Lions fan, things are definitely not down and out for the squad. But I think based on what we saw from this team last split, they're going to feel frustrated at their current level.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to catch up on if they want to go toe-to-toe with the top dogs in Europe right now.
And Vitality will be feeling very happy about how the way this series went. 50 championship points for them so far. Your player of the game vote at LEC on Twitter includes 3 of their players, Photon, Perkz, and Upset as your nominees. Yeah, I think, especially Perkz, after he had a bad week 3, I think he's really stepped up again coming into the group stage. Unkilled this entire series, 5-0 on the vegan Ahri.
I mean, it worked, right? He did everything that he needed to.
Can you be a vegan if you're killing people? I mean, you can still murder people if you're a vegan, I guess.
Suppose.
You just can't eat their bodies. But that's cannibalism.
Right,
That's,
true.
That's an entirely different thing.
Nice pivot there, Medic. Beautiful.
Is it cannibalism if you ate Tom Kench? Because that's just a frog.
Anyway.
It's a French delicacy. I know it's catfish, okay? Don't you tweet at me being like, oh, it's just catfish.
Vitality
Unload
looking
the toad.
great.
Disinhibit the ribbit.
Very excited to see the direction with which Vitality go in moving forward. But they, Astralis have also looked good. I'm really excited to see how they shape up after the week break. But this week break seems to have done wonders for Vitality. And yeah, we saw straightforward front-to-back team fighting in the second game. We saw a lot more lane dominance from the side of Photon. Got to see what he was really capable of, and a lot more skirmishing. And overall, Vitality looking good.
And that's it from us for now. We're going to hand it over to Frankie, who's sitting by with Upset.
Looking good, Vedi. I think they're looking great. Upset, thank you so much for joining me. Talk to me about what happened in that second game. The first game looked almost flawless. Second game, was there a little bit of overconfidence, should we say, in the early game?
No, I think we did all the things correct except our skill shots, probably. I think we did all the good macro moves, but when we were in between the towers, we were just missing a lot of things. So it looked pretty chaotic because we need to hit our things to go in. But otherwise, we played pretty well overall, and we had a pretty clear game plan on how we want to play fights, and it worked out pretty well.
So what were you working on then during the break week? Because there was a lack of consistency towards the end of the regular season. I'm guessing that's something you wanted to look at.
Yeah, I mean, we still need to work on our communication a lot, obviously, because we are not all speaking the same language. And this is always when a team is kind of new. I mean, I joined this split like 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and the others also have not been playing together for too long. So just on general team play, getting on the same page. And then the other side is always just trying to get in good shape individually and playing a lot of different champs to see what fits us well and what we want to play in official games. So that was kind of our process in this time.
What do you think fits you well at the moment?
I honestly think we can play basically everything because our mid laner is very flexible. Photon can play weak side and aggressive too, and I can do the same. And our jungle can carry and play tank. So everything fits us right now. I think it's just figuring out the meta, I guess, the patch, what is the strongest on the patch, and just getting really good at it.
And Xayah still looks really good, despite the fact that she had her E nerfed.
Yeah, Xayah is still pretty strong, I think, for sure, yeah.
So talk to me about what it's like playing in this format now, because this is your first time playing in the format change, obviously, because you sat out last split. How does it feel to be, I guess, in what's essentially a GSL group stage?
It's pretty exciting, and it feels a lot more higher stakes, I guess, than another week of regular season. Of course, the regular season games are important too, but with this new format, every week is a super week, and now we play best of 3, so there's a lot of excitement because the prep is much longer, and if you lose, you're out, basically, if you lose 2. So I enjoy it a lot. It's also, of course, a lot of stress compared to the other format where it's more consistent, the level of stress you have. But yeah, I like it so far.
Do you think that Vitality is a team that's going to cope well with the stress of this format?
That's a good question. I don't know the guys for too long, but I think we have a lot of experience in mid and jungle, and our top and jungler also like trying really hard to get better, and they seem to take the things well that we do. So yeah, I think we seem stress resistant for now.
Is there anything surprising then that you've discovered about this team since joining them? Not necessarily. Actually, everything is pretty much as I expected it to be. I'm just happy to be here. One of the things we noticed during the series today was Perkz getting to play more of a carry role again, because he's played more of a supportive role in mid during the split so far. Was that a decision that was made by Perkz himself?
Yeah, we struggled a little bit knowing exactly what we wanted to play in the regular season, or maybe he was just trying to to expand his champion pool. But he definitely wants to carry the games as well. So I think we don't tell him really what to pick. So he, of course, basically decides what he wants to play. So today it was a little bit more carry oriented, and he did amazing. So yeah.
I mean, you're also on the team, so it must be hard sometimes to balance things out because you're always carrying.
No, it's. I actually feel like this team is really good at understanding what the AD carry should do or how we should play fights around me. Sometimes we go a little bit too much, but it's nice. Like, everyone can carry. I can trust my teammates to do their part well if they have the resources. So it's more of a relief, really, than just feeling like you are the person that has to carry every game.
Looking ahead now, I know that this is only the first day of the group stage, but obviously MSI, there's a spot that you guys are in contention for. How confident do you feel about potentially booking a space in London?
Well, I'm not quite certain about how the point system works exactly.
What do you mean? Did you not see the patronising show at the start?
No, sadly not.
You might want to watch that one, my friend.
And my team sadly was 5th or 6th in spring. In winter, so I don't know exactly what we need to do, but I feel pretty confident that we can go all the way in the final and potentially win the split. So I guess if we do that, hopefully we are qualified for MSI. So I think we have a good shot here.
Upset. I know you've been back for a while, but it's really nice to get to sit here and talk to you today. So thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you playing again on Monday. But right now, we need to throw to a break. And after it, we're going to have Astralis versus Fnatic. However, we want to find out a bit more about this guy. So let's hear more from Upset on his arrival in Team Vitality.
To be honest, when I said the statement, I'm way too good to never have won a split, I didn't think it was controversial at all. Winning spring would mean a lot for me because obviously I never won a split, and I think I'm way too good to never have won a split.
Who would have thought a 3-0 in favor of G2?
I still believe it, of course.
Based on his pure skill, he definitely deserves it.
Difficult dive, Cleanse coming out, the Ignite ticking away, DOS flashing away, Upset on the chase, Upset will get one.
He's trying to hold off Upset, they take down Perkz, the rest of Team Upset move away, Upset gets over the wall, gets another!
I think it's a lot about timing, about luck, about effort as well, and having that all at the right moment to be in that best group of players.
So him not winning a split is for sure criminal, but I would say that with Vitality we have a good chance to make it happen now.
The absolute ceiling of this team is definitely a world-class team or world's-class team, but right now we are pretty far from that, I think. We are not a great team yet. I think we need to put a lot more effort into playing together.
I think our ceiling is, winning Worlds. I think you always have to be a little bit delusional in order to make it work,
Winning my first split would definitely take some sort of pressure off myself. It's always about being in that right team, being in that right environment, and hopefully it's this place, and it definitely can be.